I have spent 60 years digging things up, not treasure as people sometimes imagine, not gold or jewels or anything that glitters in a museum case. The things I have spent my life recovering are more ordinary and more extraordinary than that. Pottery shards that tell you how a family ate their meals 2,000 years ago. The post holes of a building that no longer exists, but was somebody's home. The bones of a person who died in a year no one can now name, in a place the world has entirely forgotten, carrying a ring on their finger that someone had given them with love. In 60 years of excavation, I have knelt in the dust of 4 continents and brushed away the soil from things the world had buried and forgotten. And I can tell you from those 60 years something that is perhaps the most important thing I know. What is buried does not die. It holds its shape in the dark. It waits. The pottery shard 3 meters below a field that has been plowed for centuries is still, when you find it, recognizably itself. The color, the form, the fingerprint of the maker pressed into it before it was fired, still visible after 2,000 years of darkness. The buried thing does not cease to be what it was. It simply waits for the person willing to come down after it. I am 88 years old, and today I want to talk to you about the version of yourself that you buried, because every person I have ever known has done it. Every person, at some point between the wide-open possibility of childhood and the narrowing world of adult obligation, has put something down in the ground. A dream they were told was impractical, a talent they walked away from when the money ran out or the encouragement stopped. A calling they silenced because the people around them needed them to be something more useful, or more stable, or more recognizable than what the calling asked of them. And most of those people, once the burial happened, never went back. Not because the thing was gone. It was not gone. It held its shape in the dark, the way everything does. The way the pottery shard holds its shape, and the fingerprint holds its impression, and the love holds its mark in the clay long after the kiln and the centuries have done their work. They never went back because no one told them it was still there, and no one told them that going back was possible. I am here to tell you both. Let me tell you about Helena. Helena was a colleague I met on a dig in her mid-40s, a meticulous, brilliant field archaeologist who had been doing the work for 20 years with a precision and a patience I rarely saw matched. She was the kind of person on a site who could read the soil the way other people read a page, feel a change in texture under her trowel, and know, before anything was visible, that something was there. But Helena had a buried thing of her own. Before she became an archaeologist, in her early 20s, she had been a composer, not a dabbler, a genuinely gifted composer of chamber music, who had written pieces in her undergraduate years that her professor had called remarkable and urged her to pursue. She had pursued them briefly and passionately for 3 years, and then the funding ran out. The practical world pressed in. She was told by people she trusted that the life of a composer was not a life she could build anything on, and she put it down. She put it down carefully, not with bitterness, with the particular grief of someone who is making a sensible decision and knows that sensible decisions sometimes cost the most. She became an archaeologist, which suited her in every practical and intellectual way, and she did not speak of the music again for 20 years. I learned about it accidentally one evening on a dig when she hummed something under her breath while she was working. Just a few bars of something, and the quality of it stopped me. I said, "What is that?" She looked up, and her face was the face of someone who had been found out. She said it was something she had written a long time ago. I said it was beautiful. She said, "It was." And then she went back to her work. That exchange stayed with me. The way she had said it was beautiful, past tense, as if the beauty had been buried with the music itself, as if what she had been was no longer available to what she was, as if the years of not composing had unmade her gift rather than simply left it unplayed. I spent a long time over the following weeks thinking about that, and then I did something I hope you will forgive me for because it was somewhat presumptuous. I found her undergraduate thesis. I read the notes on her compositions, and I arranged, through a friend at a nearby university, for a student chamber ensemble to rehearse one of her pieces. I told her what I had done. I said I wanted her to come and hear it. She would very still for a long time. Then she said, "That was 30 years ago." I said, "Yes." She said, "I am not that person anymore." I said, "The piece still is." She came. She sat in a small rehearsal room and listened to 4 young musicians play something she had written at 22. And something happened in that room that I cannot fully describe. The way some things that happen in excavation cannot be fully described. A thing that had been buried for 30 years came back into the light. Not unchanged. She was changed. The world was changed. Even the piece had gathered meaning it had not had when she wrote it, but recognizably itself, still alive, still fully what it had always been. Helena spent the last 18 years of her working life dividing her time between excavation and composition. She released 2 albums. She collaborated with musicians 20 years younger than herself. She did not become what she might have been at 22. That was not available to her at 58. And she did not mourn it. What she became was something richer, a composer shaped by the 30 years she had spent doing other extraordinary things. The burial had not erased the gift. It had, in certain ways, deepened it. Now, 3 things. From 60 years of excavation and 88 years of living. First, date the burial. When did you put it down? In archaeology, the first task when you find something buried is to establish context. When was this deposited? What was happening in the world, in that specific layer of soil, in that specific period, when this object went underground? The context tells you how to interpret what you find. I want you to do the same work with your buried thing. Think back to when you put it down. How old were you? What was happening around you? What were the specific pressures, the specific voices, the specific circumstances that made you decide that this part of you was not compatible with the life you were being asked to live? Because when you go back and look at the burial with the eyes of an adult rather than the eyes of the frightened young person who performed it, you often discover something important. The reasons that felt absolute, the judgments that felt like facts, the practical pressures that felt permanent were, in many cases, particular to a specific moment that has now passed. The funding has returned in different forms. The voices that told you it was impractical are no longer the authorities of your world. The circumstances that made the burial necessary have changed. The soil that covered it was not permanent. It was just what was there at the time. Second, brush gently. It is still fragile. When you find something buried for a long time, you do not attack it with a spade. The urgency you feel, the excitement, the desire to uncover it all at once, must be tempered by the understanding that what has been underground for a long time requires patience and care to bring back without damage. This is equally true for the buried version of yourself. When you first go back toward the thing you abandoned, the instrument you have not touched in 30 years, the language you stopped learning, the creative work you put away in a drawer, the voice you stopped using, you will encounter resistance. Not from the thing itself, from you, from the part of you that spent years learning not to reach for it. that built protective distance from the hope that went unfulfilled, that learned the specific management of a loss that had been accepted as permanent. Go gently. Do not demand the full gift of yourself on the first day of re-excavation. Let yourself be a beginner again, which is what you are in this, and which is not a shameful thing to be. Beginners are people at the beginning of something. That is exactly where you want to be. Third, it does not have to look the same as it did. Helena did not compose the music of a 22-year-old at 58. That music was gone, and she had the wisdom to know that recreating it was not the point. What she composed at 58 was shaped by 30 years of field work, 30 years of reading soil, 30 years of learning to be patient in the dark with things that had not yet revealed themselves. It was different. It was, in many respects, deeper. Whatever you buried is waiting in the ground. But it is not waiting to be the same thing it would have been if you had never put it down. It is waiting to be what you will make of it now, with everything you have become in the years between the burial and the return, with the particular depth that only comes from having lived a long time in other rooms before coming back to this one. The gift does not have to resume where it paused. It can begin from where you are, right now, shaped by everything that has happened since the burial. That version of the gift, the one made from the whole of your life rather than only the early part, may be the most interesting version it was ever going to be. I am 88 years old. I put down my own buried thing at 31, the writing of poetry, which I had done from childhood and abandoned in the face of a doctorate that left no room for it, and a career that seemed to require a seriousness that poetry did not, in those years, feel serious enough to match. I went back to it at 74, 43 years of burial, and what came back was not the poetry of a 31-year-old who had not yet seen what I have since seen. What came back was something shaped by 43 years of kneeling in the dust of 4 continents and learning, over and over, that the things the world has forgotten are never as gone as the world believes them to be. I have been writing poems for 14 years now. Nobody has heard most of them, and I do not particularly need them to. They are mine. They are the part of me that went underground at 31 and came back at 74, changed in the way that everything that has spent a long time in the dark comes back changed, deeper in color, older in feeling, carrying the weight of the years in a way that makes them, I think, more true. Your buried thing is waiting in the particular darkness where you left it, holding its shape, holding your fingerprint, the one that was pressed into it before you knew you were going to have to put it down. Go back for it. Not for the version of it you imagined before the burial, for what it will be now, in your hands, shaped by the full life you have lived. That version has never existed before. It is waiting to be made for the first time. Dig.